Hi everyone, Tuesday evening 2. It is 21 News Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm here with the video we call Weather for Weather Geeks. Turned out to be a pretty rainy start to our Tuesday across the valley today. Not many raindrops in our forecast from here on out, though. We'll show you the radar and what to expect in the coming days. But first, before we had the kind of deluge in parts of the area this morning, here's a look at the rainfall totals over the last 30 days. Again, not counting this morning's rain. Generally, all these kind of orangish colors, this is around 2 to 3 inches worth of rain in a lot of areas over the last 30 days. But there are some parts that are drier. Kind of this more blue tone here, that's under an inch worth of rain over the last 30 days. That includes places like Salem, heading down close to Hanoverton, heading over towards the Stark-Columbiana line. Those areas have been really, really dry over the last 30 days. So a lot of us have picked up 2 inches, maybe up to 3 in the last 30, and then we got 2, perhaps up to 3 inches worth of rain in a handful of hours in parts of the area this morning. At the Youngstown Warren Airport, we registered 1.2 inches worth of rain. That really went a long way towards erasing some of the bigger deficits we had been accruing so far in September at the Youngstown Warren Regional Airport. Now, our rain gauge network did capture some higher amounts. Up on the roof here at WFMJ in downtown Youngstown, 1.44 inches worth of rain. There's a gauge kind of between Canfield and Boardman with 1.57. Southern Columbiana County, one of the drier spots. And because these are personal weather stations and the quality control and how often they upload to the internet, all that stuff is kind of out of our hands. You get a couple of readings like this one that look wrong over in Mercer, 0.01. That's obviously not right. This one over towards Alliance also looks pretty low. Now, radar estimates in between our rain gauge network, there was a corridor here, kind of the I-76 and I-80 corridors, where we had 2.5 even. I've seen some comments of 3 inches worth of rain in this corridor from Berlin Center to Austintown, up towards Hubbard, Sharon, over into central parts of Mercer County. North of there and south of there, the rainfall totals from this morning were lighter. And we're not adding much to those rain totals this evening here locally. Now, could there be a shower or two before the evening is through? That's going to be a possibility, but we dodged the severe weather bullet today, mostly because the atmosphere was stabilized by all the clouds and, of course, the rain that we had for a handful of hours in parts of the area this morning. But we're not so lucky in parts of western and northern Ohio. A couple of severe thunderstorm warnings, even tornado warnings, have been out over the last handful of hours from northern Indiana into southern Michigan and northwest Ohio as well. A lot of these severe thunderstorm warnings, Toledo area, even into some of the western suburbs of Cleveland, those severe thunderstorm warnings have come with the tornado possible tag on them. In other words, all these storms kind of want to spin a little bit, but I don't think the environment in northeast Ohio and western PA will be as favorable for nasty thunderstorms this evening. And a severe thunderstorm watch does extend south of where you see all these warnings up here. The watch is actually down here in the yellow area. It includes Cincinnati and parts of Kentucky as well. All right, so the big national weather story in the next few days will be, of course, tropical storm, soon to be Hurricane Helene, and already hurricane warnings are up for the Big Bend area of Florida, down towards Tampa as well, and tropical storm warnings extend all the way down towards the Florida Keys. Now, Helene is feeding on some very, very warm water compared to the average. Now, of course, the water is always pretty warm in the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean, but compared to the average, it is warmer than the average. In fact, it's in the upper 80s, some of these water temperatures captured by some of the buoys here across the Caribbean and the Gulf. So Helene has a lot of warm water still to plow through in the Gulf, and the shear will be minimal. So we expect some rapid strengthening. Right now it's a category, or I should say it's a tropical storm, but it will probably become a category 1 hurricane over the next 12 hours or so as the center of circulation makes the trip up here into the Gulf of Mexico. And the current forecast from the National Hurricane Center does have a landfall somewhere across the Big Bend area of Florida later in the day, Thursday into early Thursday night. And this is kind of the area we're talking about right here. Now, you know, we're not a tropical market in eastern Ohio and western PA, but if we were, I would be preaching on and on about how you don't want to just look at the center of the cone. A landfall could occur on the western side of the cone, or the eastern side of the cone, or right down the middle, and all of that is important because, of course, the closer you are to the center, the worse the conditions will be. So if the storm jogs over this way, then conditions won't be nearly as bad over here, closer to Tampa. But a more easterly track as far as the center of circulation in this cone would bring much worse weather to the Tampa area and especially just to the north. Now, for us in eastern Ohio and western PA, the remnants of Helene will kind of take a track far enough to the north that we have introduced, as I speculated on last evening, we have introduced some rain chances to our forecast for late Friday and over the weekend, but they're small chances, and I don't think it's going to be much rain. We're not going to get in on the really heavy rain that will be a big problem for the southern Appalachians, the Carolinas, down into Georgia, parts of the Tennessee Valley as well. In the meantime, until we have any impacts from Helene, we have a cold front limping through on Wednesday. This is a weak front. During the afternoon, there can be a scattering of showers and perhaps a thunderstorm. Again, I don't think it's much rain. And then that front sort of becomes stationary just out to our east. Now, Thursday is going to be kind of a gloomy-looking day. I don't think we're in for a lot of sunshine, maybe some filtered sun on Thursday, but I also don't think it's going to rain much at all on Thursday, aside from maybe a sprinkle. We await then Helene's remnants for the next potentially unsettled period. This model depiction has the center of circulation right over western North Carolina Friday morning. Then clouds will increase locally Friday afternoon after some filtered sun in the morning. And towards football time Friday evening, could we see a couple of showers trying to push in? Yes, but I really don't think it's much rain. But for the end of September and by next week, the beginning of October, this is a pretty muggy forecast. The dew points staying pretty elevated. We thought we'd get a little break from those higher dew points towards the end of the week, but with the clouds hanging tough and not much sunshine to mix the atmosphere up and bring down some dry air from aloft, I don't see a big drop in dew points coming through the upcoming weekend. So, we're into the time of the year. The dew points in the mid-60s, that's pretty elevated for late September, even early October, and it's not like it was in the middle of summer when mid-60s dew points are very, very common. A quick look at the longer range. I'll bring up today's Climate Prediction Center 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. You don't see much blue at all on the map here, and I don't think there'll be a lot of sustained cool weather. Now, I do think there'll be a couple of cool days in this period to open October, but far from the average, probably not. I don't see many signs that October is likely to be some sort of abnormally chilly month here locally. I think odds are probably favoring a warmer than average month in October, maybe the opposite in November. We'll talk more about the longer range, of course, in future editions of Weather for Weather Geeks. Thanks for watching on this Tuesday evening. Have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you right back here, same time, same place on Wednesday.